Hello and welcome to another audio analysis. In today's video we're looking at the track Toni by the American post-punk revival band Interpol. This song was the lead single from the band's 7th studio album The Other Side of Make Believe. And for a band that are very much known for their guitar driven and almost sullen style of music, really emulating that post-punk revival sound, this album really did see them make a bit of a change and really try something new. And it really did come to fruition. Many felt it was as strong as an album as their earlier works in the form of Antics and Turn on the Bright Lights. So will this track be criminally overrated or making an appearance on Interpol's most wanted list? Let's take a look at exactly how it sounds. So already I love a couple of things about this actual track. First of all, we have this keys driven track. It's not something we're used to hearing from Interpol. They've always been this guitar centric driven band, really flowing into that post-punk revival sound, following bands such as Joy Division. But it's such a nice change up for the band to make this change. And this actually came around because Daniel Kessler actually in the studio just started playing along on the piano, just really started playing with some notes, and the band built the song around him. But it's such a refreshing change for the band to go for this styling because it's something completely new for them as a band that have really stuck to their guns and stuck to their style for such a long time. And that's almost shown through the lyrics as well, this idea of my methods refined. The band have really come up with something new. They've refined their ideas into something completely different, and this song is actually going to revolve in quite a few different ways. We're going to see it evolve as the track does go on, but almost off this first verse we get this idea of that self-improvement. Flame down Pacific Highway, this idea of you're making a really big charge, still in shape, my methods refined. You're kind of improving yourself, you've refined your ways almost, which is a term we often use when someone's kind of improved themselves. This idea of superstitions falling, not being held back by kind of beliefs or things like that. And then also the last the last line of this verse as well, be seen at how my memories refuse. So you're kind of seeing yourself for the way that your memories wouldn't let you. You're kind of seeing that improvement going forward.
See them win. I like the inspiration, like it's going in the right direction. That's to me. I like to see them win. It's my kind of aspiration, like it's going in the right direction. That's to me.
So one thing I actually want to touch on with the chorus is this is where we really get the track opening up, and it has a very upbeat feel to it thanks to Sam being able to use these much faster paced drums compared to what we would normally see. He really gets to just kind of freestyle on this actual track and really play whatever patterns he really wants to go for, but it's very uplifting, very upbeat. And this track really, it delves into different ideas because there's different ways of looking at it, and this is slightly helped by the visuals as well. We almost see Paul Banks as being this outsider. It's almost like this is his ex-partner and she's moved on, and he's kind of accepting that. I'd like to see them win. I'd like to see them really kind of make something of it. So it's almost like this ex-partner that's moved on. You could look at it in that sense, and I like the inspiration, like it's going in the right direction. So it's almost like gives you that inspiration to know that, right, if they can move on, maybe so can I. However, there is also another way of looking at it, and this is a slightly darker side to it. You can almost see from the visuals this idea of it wants them to break up because it's going in that right direction. That's to me. So it's almost like I want these to break up so she comes back to me. So that's that's my kind of inspiration. So it's almost like that, and you've got this really kind of hollow vocal in the back saying, but you don't notice. So almost she doesn't see that he wants her back. It's almost like a very twisted love story with him kind of sitting on the sidelines waiting for this relationship to fall apart. But it could also revolve around the more positive idea of him really just improving himself and being happy that she has then gone and moved on.
Aim now is perfection always. Aim now is fucking leave it behind. Yes. Come home, no, through perceptions always. When the change comes, we'll live in green skies.
And I love this last line to this verse. When the change comes, we'll live in green skies, because this is such an open lyric. You traditionally would see it will live in blue skies, and that's something you think of as quite clear. So green can have different significances. You can look at it as in a storm. Often if there's a severe storm coming, the clouds will rise and they will turn a shade of green. So you could look at it as there's a big storm coming, and that could be the change that is on the way. You could also look at green as it's often used to signify envy. So he's envious of the fact that she's got this relationship that's really working. And there's a third way you could look at it, and it's this idea of security. Green is often used as a symbol for security and peace and things like that. So it's almost like him coming to peace. He's refining himself and accepting that she has moved on. So you've got really three different branches spanning off from this one lyric that is a play on a traditional lyric that is often used in the form of blue skies.
I'd like to see them win. I like the inspiration, like it's going in the right direction. That's to me, to me, to me. I'd like to see them win. It's my kind of aspiration, like it's flowing in the right direction. That's to me. Who you doubt?
And I actually like this idea of who are you to doubt us, because this could be looked at two different sides. Again, Interpol love to keep some of their lyrics very ambiguous, and although this is kind of, the lyrics came to Paul Banks, there's almost like a bit of a fever dream, a bit of a hallucination, and that could be tied in with this idea when people hallucinate that maybe their partner's going to come back to them or things like that. They have these kind of fever dream ideas. But I like with this lyric, who are you to doubt us could be played from both sides. It's almost like the new couple that are kind of saying, who are you to doubt that we're going to not make it, we're not going to survive, and we're not going to win. We could also look at it from Paul Banks' effective character side. This who are you to doubt us, almost like this idea of we should never have broken up. Who are you to doubt that we'll never get back together? So there's really these two sides. It's got this almost kind of positive and negative strings kind of holding each puppet up, and you could really play with either one in kind of which way you want to take the track.
Who you to doubt?
And with this later verse, one thing I really want to touch on is how the guitars are really brought in. Earlier on, they had this occasional note that was being thrown in very subtly underneath, and they use it now in this much more rapid pace, but they keep the level on it really low, and it adds a little bit more pace towards the end of the track, and it allows the drums to really just stay in pattern. It allows the piano keys to really just stay at that same level, that very melodic sound that we have got from them, that really peaceful sound as well that's been brought throughout the track. So I love that they're using the guitar very subtly to raise raise the energy and raise the pace on this track in a very simple and subtle way. And it's very rare that you really get a guitar almost having that effect in the background. Normally it's an instrument that normally comes to the forefront. So I really like how they've done that with this part of the track. And also I like that we kind of get this perspective again, this idea of looked me up and down and said, babe, we're soaring, but you don't notice. So this idea of me and my new partner are really going well, we're really going strongly, but you don't notice this. You're kind of just, again, that idea of still being stuck on the sidelines, kind of just waiting for it all to go, to kind of fall apart. And I like the way that they use the lyric, let me tell you about the wayward starlet. This idea of wayward, it's almost like she's lost direction, she's gone off and kind of found something new. So I love that. And the face adorned with skulls, this could really tie in with the idea of maybe like skeletons in the closet or something like that, almost like a checkered past almost. So there's there's nothing really concrete that kind of ties these ideas together, and that's something that Interpol really did with this track. They left it very open, really just let you draw your own conclusions. And although they do have some tracks that are really set in stone with their meanings, this is one that really just kind of leaves a lot more versatility to the actual listener to decide what they want to gain from it. And I love the last lyric as well, this idea of above the ocean being repeated, this idea we're not drowning, we're not sinking, we are going strong. And I like that it's this idea of the whale is soaring. It's not something that you would typically expect to hear, but it's this really big noticeable thing. If you see a whale soaring above the ocean, you are going to notice it. So it's this idea of, it's this almost like the idea of the elephant in the room, but they've used this almost aquatic version to really kind of show that, and it's really smart how the band have actually done that with the outro to the track. And there was actually a couple of things that I just really did enjoy about that. I loved the guitar really building the track up towards the later stages. It really did help to just add a really cool and interesting effect to the end, and really helped to elevate those levels as we reach the later stages of the track. And with the lyrics, I love how open they are. I love how vague that this track actually is, because you can draw so much from it. And that's the beauty with, I suppose, Paul Banks tying it in with a dream. This idea that dreams can be whatever you want them to be. And he's kind of shown that by leaving that openness, where we can certainly see it's almost this idea of this person on the sideline and watching their partner move on. That's certainly shown more so through the visuals, that idea, as well as the lyrics do slightly kind of sway their way towards that idea. But there's so many different ways that you could look at this. I love the lyric of the green skies, just the ways that you can look at it in so many different ways and draw different conclusions from it. It certainly is very easy to see why this was the title track from the album. It's got a great catchiness to it, and it's all because of those keys. They just really do make a difference. It's so refreshing to see the band do something like that, and I was really impressed when I actually first got to hear this when it was actually released from the album. So that would be everything for today's video, but as always, please feel free to let me know your thoughts about this track in the comments section below. Do you think it lives up to the standard of some of their earlier works, or do you think it just falls a little bit at the wayside? Also, if you want to see more content like this, then please do feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next audio analysis.